When the almighty FIRS comes knocking on the doors of your business, what do you do? Do you immediately freak out? Or are you confident that everything is going to be all right, perhaps because you've been generally tax compliant? Hi, my name is Stephanje Anyamele. I'm the founder and principal of Charles Adder and Company. We are a professional services firm, and we specialize in real-time outsourced accounting, as well as financial operations consulting services for SMEs in Nigeria and across West Africa. Our mission remains to empower non-financial CEOs in particular with accurate and timely financial insights, streamlined accounting operations, and strategic financial decision-making support. So back to our topic. When the FIRS comes knocking, what do you do? Okay. Now, the FIRS stands for Federal Inland Revenue Service, right? And that is basically our tax body here, our main tax body over here in Nigeria. So when they come knocking, it's usually to conduct a tax audit on your underlying financial records to ensure that your business has been tax compliant over a certain period. From my observation, these audits are usually conducted every 4 years or so they're not actually as random as you think. Neither are they a once and done affair. It's also important that businesses understand that this isn't some kind of a witch hunt or something they're doing simply because the government is looking for money, although that's probably a big part of it. But these audits are also necessary to ensure fairness, especially to the businesses that are regularly compliant and doing their part to contribute to the country's revenue bucket. If one business or more businesses are paying up while some others never pay or not paying enough, you wouldn't consider that equitable, would you? With all of this in mind, how can you then prepare or position yourself and your company to scale through a tax audit by the FIRS? We've actually had a couple of clients recently undergo tax audits, and I thought to share some pointers that could help you too. If you feel more prepared, the whole process will likely feel less daunting for you, especially if it's your first experience of it. So the whole process would usually kick off with you receiving a letter from FIRS. That letter would be informing you of their intention to audit your records for, a particular number of years, usually in the past, right? So it's usually prior years and not the one that you're currently in or even the one before. So, for example, one of my clients was actually been audited for the years 2016 to 2021. The letter that they send would also state when they'll, want to visit your premises, their contact details, and a list of items that you should prepare for them beforehand. Now, it's a comprehensive list, but some of the records they'd usually ask for include bank statements, general ledger, management reports, asset register, board meeting minutes, audited statements, just to mention a few, off the top of my head. The challenge at this point that tends to present itself for many SMEs, especially if they haven't been appropriately keeping their books or generally haven't been tax compliant, is the realization that they don't have majority of the information required. In some cases, they've never had their statements, their books audited. They've probably never filed any taxes, particularly when it comes to the company income tax that has to be filed at the year end based on audited statements. So a bit of panic can set in at this point and cause them to start scrambling around to find a tax accountant or financial auditor to assist them. If you do have majority or all of the required information for those prior periods and they're readily available, then that's a great position to be starting off in, and you'd likely get more valuable support from whoever works with you as your financial auditor and or your tax accountant. They'd be able to confidently help you navigate the whole tax audit process and respond as well on your behalf to any queries from the FIRS. And just in case you're wondering, I've been filing my taxes, why would FIRS want to audit us? As I said earlier, it's not even personal to you or your business. They just need to ascertain that you paid the right amounts and you're fully compliant. Now, what if you simply can't provide, any or majority of the records needed and you've not been compliant in the years under audit? FIRS will have no choice in that case than to rely solely on what you do have, which I see in most cases to be bank statements, and then whatever supporting receipts or invoices that are available. And that's what they will use to calculate your tax liability, as well as any penalties for non-compliance for the period under audit. Now, this whatever they calculate usually turns out to be quite a steep figure, which honestly, many business owners will likely not be able to cough the amount up immediately or even ever. And so negotiations at that will become necessary at that point to determine what can realistically be paid. Nonetheless, a payment does have to be made towards clearing whatever tax liability they come up with and closing your case file for the periods under audit. Now, I'd like to say at this point that it is futile, for you as a business owner to try to coerce any financial auditor or accounting professional to come up with last-minute reports or statements for you for the sake of this audit. If they're a true accounting professional who value their integrity, they'd likely decline anyway. Plus, FIRS will still identify the gaps when they conduct their audit. So it's better you simply just tell the FIRS what records you have, give that to them, and just allow them go through their own process. When they're done, they'll definitely advise on next steps, that you need to take. Now, once the tax audit is complete and your bill is sorted, what next? Now I'm going to be speaking directly to you if you fall into the category of those businesses that couldn't, or even as we speak, would not be able to provide the required records, whether some of it or majority of it, or even not able to provide any of it. Perhaps because your company has been lax on its bookkeeping and accounting, or you just haven't found the right support to consistently keep you on track, especially if you are a growing, SME in Nigeria that has crossed that 25 million naira revenue mark. So in terms of what next, your most crucial activity post-audit would be to establish your internal bookkeeping and accounting processes, whether that involves you hiring an in-house accountant or outsourcing to firms like mine, Charles Adder and Company. Maybe, in another audio post in the future, I might share about pros and cons of in-house versus outsourced accounting. But what's important here is that you have some structure around your accounting and, your bookkeeping processes, and that you put experienced and qualified professionals at the helm of the ship so that you can get on track with being compliant and avoid those heavy tax payables in the future that may come as a result of, future tax audits. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. Plus, wouldn't you rather put those funds, right, channel them towards business growth activities instead of having to cough it up for an avoidable tax bill? So in conclusion, and as we used to say in our secondary school or primary school debates here in Nigeria, I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not confuse you as to how to go about dealing with the FIRS when they do come knocking on the doors of your growing SME to conduct their tax audit. Once again, my name is Stephanje Anyamele, and I'm the founder and principal of Charles Adder and Company. We are here for all your real-time outsourced accounting needs, especially if you are a non-financial CEO who wants to always have their business numbers at their fingertips, but without the whole burden and complexities involved in setting up or managing an internal accounting team. Just leave your books to us and focus on growing your business. If you'd like to get in touch with us, all contact options can be found in the caption or post associated with this audio, depending on what platform you're listening on. So thank you for listening. Until next time, cheers.